And as always, we've got
Jen Barkin.
We've really been working on that open. Hey, welcome everybody to our special here edition where we're talking about what online sales specialists can do to adapt to the changing market. Before we get into that, Jen, what did you do fun this weekend?
So this weekend, trying to keep ourselves busy around the house, we went on bike ride.
Yes.
Family bike ride. Took one of the dogs with us, which was fun. Got up in the attic and found all our old CDs and cassette tapes and organized them and traveled back in time to when we were in middle school and high school, listening to all of our cassette tapes. That was fun. And cleaned out the shed.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, found some interesting things in there. So
you're getting to work. I like it. This weekend, on Friday, we supported a friend of Corey's in New Jersey who couldn't have their fundraiser and did drag queen bingo over Zoom, which was awesome.
I love so much that you did that.
Even the drag queen was trying to figure out Zoom, just like every one of you out there. Hello, everybody who's joining us. Good to see you. And Corey also ordered a paint by numbers kit, which just wait. You're going to see the finished product. We're excited. And hey, tonight, everybody, if you're looking for something fun to do, the one and only legendary Garth Brooks is streaming live at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock EST. So Garth Brooks is putting on a free streaming concert. It's so fun to see everybody out there working through this fun stuff. Yes. Hello, everybody. Hi, Carolyn, Stephanie, Jesse. Good to see you. So let's jump right into this, Jen. For our online sales specialists.
Yes.
You know, this, again, special dedicated space for you where we're going to give you some tips and guidance, things that we're seeing that's working. Yes, that's right, Kate. Garth Brooks. And we're going to make sure that we're supporting you. And our goal is most likely, because of the changing dynamics of this market, it's changing day by day. We're going to jump in and try and do this once a week for you. So stay tuned. That's what Do You Convert is here for. We've always tried to support our peeps out there. So we'd love to do that and continue with Facebook Live. All right. So first thing I want to just kind of talk about. Everybody, let's get serious. Everybody got their coffee or their lunch. Grab your coffee, sit down. Yes. Jen's got her coffee.
I got my coffee.
I want everybody to write this down. This is going to be kind of teaching Facebook Live for a little bit here. My wife said, Mike, you got to listen to the new Brene Brown podcast. If you guys know who Brene Brown is, shout it out, because the lady's legit. Brene Brown for president. But she has a new podcast series. I think it's called Unlocking Us. And her first one is just fantastic and timely. And I want to share with you a key point that she talked about, because listen, we're going through some tough stuff here. And this is a first for a lot of you, right? And she calls it, I'll keep this safe for work here. She calls it the FFT, which stands for freaking first time. And when you're going through something hard at the beginning, and that's a really hard first time, you know, we're new at this. We're all new at this. She calls it the freaking first time. And the best thing we can do is kind of recognize what we're in and give it a name. So that's what she calls it. So everybody can kind of get on the same page and say, we're in an FFT together. Would you guys all agree?
Yeah.
And she goes, then let's get the framework for dealing with the FFTs. And so I want to give this to you, but this does not replace your homework, which is listen to the Brene Brown podcast and listen to the last 10 minutes of it with your kids and your family. The first is a little bit, you got some cursing in there. Stay tuned. But all right. So after we know it's the FFT, the first thing we got to do is we got to normalize. We got to normalize this. This is very uncomfortable. We are in a high state of discomfort, and that takes time. This last week, I was like adjusting to everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And the millions of emails that we're getting and the support that people need. And it takes a second to normalize, but we'll feel better with a little bit of time. The second thing is we got to do is we got to put this in perspective. We don't know how long this is going to be, but it's not going to last forever. So let's put perspective around it and make sure that we really keep things in line there. And the final thing is reality check the expectations. Okay. This may be hard for a while. We may need some space. We may need some time to go through this stuff, because really what the pandemic is, the COVID-19 thing, is the biggest collective FFT for all of us. Nobody knows what we're going through. So for our online sales specialists out there, we give you some knuckles. Everybody get your knuckles up, some virtual knuckles. You do the fist bump emoji or elbow bump. We don't do that. There's no elbow bump emoji. I think you got to do that. So go ahead and put that in the comments and in the chats, and we'll do that. Astrid says, can someone send me some coffee? We got you. Starbucks is closed, so I don't know about that. Hang in there. Jen, what are your thoughts, though, as we kind of talk through that framework of dealing with it?
I like that a lot, because I feel like we were all, first of all, you don't know what you don't know. So it's hard to predict some of these things and how it's affecting us, because we've never been through this before. So we don't really know. And so I like what Mike is saying here, where last week I felt like we were all just trying to get our bearings. We were all like trying to figure this out. What does working from home look like? Like, what are we doing? And so now, after we've had a chance to kind of, okay, take a breath and let's see what's next. Okay, we've absorbed it. We're taking a breath. Okay, now we've got to kind of get things figured out. What's next? And that's kind of what we want to talk about, like things you need to be now doing next, now that you've adjusted and you're kind of figuring this out.
I love it. I'm seeing all the fist bumps coming, even though that's not COVID-19 approved, social distancing approved. They got to get an elbow bump in there. That emoji is going to look weird. So,
and yes, thank you for everybody noticing that I got my hair cut. Yes, this is the new haircut for COVID-19.
That's right. That's great. All right. So check this out. First of all, word of encouragement.
Yeah.
Online sales. Let me know if you're with me. We've been social distancing since 2003. Right? Our world, the online sales world, has been one of virtual, right? This virtual world. We've been emailing, texting, video, emails, all that stuff. So our phrase, and I want you guys to write this down. Some of you might get this tattoo. We were built for this. Like, that's our phrase for online sales. Now, I'm going to edit that, though, a second, Jen, because we've been talking about this. We might have been built for what is going on, and the fact that people can't get that face-to-face the same as they used to, and we've been doing that for a while. Let me tell you what we're not built for. We're not built for pandemics. We're not built for stock market crashes. We're not built for kids at home messing up our rhythm.
Amen.
Or spouses at home.
Amen.
Also known as grown children for some of us. Guilty. So that, even though, yes, hey, we're built for this, man, there's some other stuff that are throwing in some big old wrinkles into our world. So Jen, what's a word of encouragement for people who are maybe working from home more often with more people around for the first time? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, guys, here's the deal. Everybody's in the same boat, right? We're all trying to figure this out, and you just have to do the best that you can do. You just have to do the best that you can do. And this week, okay, last week was adjustment, absorbing, figuring it out. This week, you need to give yourself a break. You need to give yourself some space. You need to give yourself some time to adjust to this new normal. And if that means your day looks different than it normally does, that's okay. You know, maybe you have to start your work a little bit earlier in the morning, because you've got little humans in the middle of the day that are going to require snacks and lunchtime, and you're making lunches for everybody. So totally get it. Or maybe you have to work a little bit later because that witching hour that everybody knows about that has little kids happens between, 4 and 6 or whatever it is. So that's okay. Right? That's okay. You're adjusting to what's happening. And so is everybody else. Yeah. Everybody's in the same boat.
And that's going back to that concept of reality checking your expectations for everybody around us, just to say, hey, this might be just a little bit of an adjustment for a while. So word of encouragement to all of you guys. We'll make this happen. To all of you guys who now turned into homeschool teachers, bless you, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting watching our kids react to this, because some of them are adjusting and it's hard. Some of them are like, this is the best thing ever. No more school. And we're like, you kids, you little turd. Come on. So online sales, let's get into what can you do
Yeah.
right now to adapt to the changing market. Jen and I are going to go back and forth with some quick tips for you guys. I'll start first with one of the biggest one that everybody needs to be doing. And what we'd love for you to do, because you guys are all superstars, is when you hear a tip, comment on some things that you've done.
Yes.
And some things that are working for you, or if we're missing something, right? Because remember, this is new for all of us.
Yeah. We're figuring it out
in the comments. I see a lot of you superstar online sales specialists here. This is good. Summer says her new tagline is "We're all in this together." I love it, Summer. She's from Seattle. She's been there. She was there catching the brunt of this early. Okay, so first things first. Remember, revisit your automated messages and your follow-up processes. Anything that is on sales automation, make sure the message is timely and targeted and updated. I think that's kind of a no-brainer, but I just want to make sure. Some of you guys have stuff planned that's really far out, that's talking about things or interest rates being record lows or things like that. Listen, interest rates right now are not record lows. They're going up, they're going down. They're going up, they're going down. So to push that as a message and not paying attention to it, that could be, you could just be missing the mark a little bit. We've seen some of that come out where that the messaging is all wrong. So think about some things like that and make sure if it's automated, you know what's going out. It's neutral enough that it's not going to be a big deal. And if there's any kind of mass email or things like that, you guys are all double checking. So that's tip number one. Let's go revisit that.
Yeah.
Jen, what's tip number two?
Tip number two, work with leadership and somebody in marketing to make sure you have a dedicated page on your website that talks about what your company's protocol is regarding COVID-19.
Yeah.
You don't want to put your protocol in every single email that goes out. Rather, it makes more sense to have maybe a link that you can send people to. The other thing I would say, this is really, really important. It is not the job of the online sales specialist to be coming up with the language around this.
Oh, that's good.
So
yeah, very important.
Make sure that this is coming from leadership. They're putting together, what your company's position is, protocol, all of those things, and then you are putting that in your email so you can send them to that page on your website.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, I've seen a couple of templates come out. We've even got shops that are going where people have, like, they're putting all their COVID-19 stuff in their first response email to a customer. Listen, guys, everybody knows things are changing. We don't have to reinforce that in an email template. Just put a link to say, hey, with the current situation, because everybody's market's different. Here's our new adjustments that we've seen, and only call out the important things. Which for a prospect, it's what's the appointment process? Are you guys open? Yes or no?
Right.
That's all you really need to address in those emails. All right. Third thing, don't overcomplicate.
It's a big one.
Yeah. Do not overcomplicate things. We've been hearing, we got to do this. We got to change completely. Everybody's got to get a Zoom account. Everybody's got to get set up. We got to get things on Calendly. We got to get things integrated, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, listen, for the meantime, right now, yes, we need to adjust things, but your role is staying primarily the same. Okay. Yes. You're just adjusting. Maybe you're talking a little bit more with customers, explaining things a little bit more, and then you're going to set private or virtual appointments. Don't overcomplicate things, and don't let the technology overcomplicate things. From what we've seen as we go to virtual appointments, it's FaceTime or it's Zoom. I mean, Zoom seems to climb everybody's saying Zoom. That's the one who won this. That's what people will be interested in. It's free up to 40 minutes. It's the number one free download on the App Store right now. I mean, those are the two things we've got to get down. Beyond that, let's not overcomplicate what we're trying to do. I need to get a 360 camera and get all this stuff set up. Hey, just for now, let's utilize the content we already have and some very easy tools. So don't overcomplicate things.
We were talking about this earlier, going into the next one, private one-on-one appointments, if your models are still open, virtual appointments, like Mike was saying, don't overcomplicate it. It can be as simple as FaceTime. Another one that was thrown out was Google Duo. I haven't personally tried that one myself, but another builder is using it very successfully, Google Duo for Android devices. And the phone, guys, good old fashioned having a phone call can be, something that is as simple and all that is needed for your sales team to reach out to somebody on the phone.
Yeah.
and say, I sent you this virtual tour. Let's hop on the phone and talk about it.
Sure.
So.
That's good. And I popped this question up on the screen for everybody to see, because what Rachel asked, what do you think about FaceTiming or scheduling Zoom calls with prospects to get them used to our virtual format? I think that's okay. Here's what I know is that just like customers aren't always ready to go to the face-to-face appointments because they're not there yet, they're not even gonna be ready for the video appointments because they're not there yet, right? We're trying to get our team comfortable, but remember, your general population may not want to do that right away. They may just want to have a phone call. And even when they get on these meetings, the salesperson may be on camera, but you got to keep in mind, your customer may not want to get on camera, because even though they may be comfortable with friends and family or in different situations, they still may not be comfortable with you. So let's not force it. Definitely give an option. But if you just start FaceTiming someone out of nowhere, that may not work out for you in your benefit. You're like, hey, we're not there yet. Let's just have a regular call. But I love that question, Rachel. I think we try a lot of stuff, but ultimately, this is just one piece of the puzzle.
I think if we, Mike, if we go back to the basics and we just keep in mind, we keep the customer at the forefront, and we just remember we want to communicate with them how they are most comfortable and how they want to be communicated with. So it might be not just one thing. Right. Just like not everybody wants a text message or not everybody wants an email. So we just have to have our tools in our toolbox and be able to offer whatever makes them the most comfortable.
Can I just say, there's like 70 of you guys on watching right now, and the comments are just warming my heart. You guys are helping everybody out. I truly appreciate you online sales specialists stepping up and commenting on what's working for you. So Martha says she's been texting and feeling it out one by one. I saw Barb mention, having a family huddle. Where is that? I want to put that up on the screen too. Just going back to what we were talking about before, having a family huddle to make sure your family understands what's going on. I think that's important, because they're not going to be used to, they go, wow, you talk a lot on the phone, Mom. like, oh my gosh, what in the world? Okay, so we'll skip through this one quick because it's pretty simple, but adjust to private one-on-one appointments or virtual. That's up to your company, but I would just say get there quickly. Here's another quick, fast one. Have your sales team update their calendar.
Oh,
seriously this time, right? Before, smash it, give me a thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about. Hey, sales team, now for reals, if we're going private or we're going virtual, I have to know your calendar.
Yes.
Or we're going to be doing that. So make sure they understand if we're setting these virtual appointments or private one-on-one appointments, for the love of all that's holy, update your calendar.
Update your calendar, please.
Right? Okay. What's next, Jen?
Okay. Virtual sales is still sales. Selling virtually is not your job, online salespeople. So, prepare your hearts, everyone. So, business as normal for online salespeople, as far as, remember, your job is to engage the prospect. Your job is to qualify the prospect and set those appropriately qualified appointments. Don't go too far down the sales path, because now it's virtual. Okay. Right. You're still handing off, and virtual sales is still the responsibility of your on-site. So just keep that in mind. Don't go too far down the sales path. Now, are you going to spend a little bit more time with people right now? Probably so, but it's more about nurturing them, making them comfortable, answering questions that are appropriate for you. So just be careful. Stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
I can't stress that enough. And the same goes for virtual appointments.
Yeah.
Virtual appointments are still appointments. Not much changes. It might change the confirmation email. It might change the fact that you send an explainer that you're going to be using FaceTime or Zoom, and that the sales rep will reach out to you. But again, we don't even have to overcomplicate the appointment process. I had someone reach out to me who said, hey, corporate leadership is looking for us to make sure we really got our appointment process down. Do we need another tool like Calendly or something else? And I said, nothing changes.
Right.
The only thing that changes is how we're having the appointment.
The appointment, exactly.
And so again, we don't overcomplicate that stuff. And going back to what Jen was saying about virtual sales, when we saw that a lot at the beginning, it's like, oh gosh, online sales is going to get overwhelmed. No, you're still moving a qualified person onto your sales rep. And let me tell you something, especially if you're sheltering in place or stuck in that model with low traffic, your salespeople want to get to work. So put them to work with those virtual
Yeah.
appointments, those phone calls, with communicating with the customers. Okay.
Okay. Unprecedented. Write this down, folks.
Oh, yes. If you're taking notes.
We've never said this before. Prospecting can stop. What? Okay, but hold on. There's a caveat. Here's what we mean. Are you reaching out to your non-responsive prospects? No, but you're still reaching out. You want to still reach out and connect with people. Reach out and connect to your responded leads that you talked to a couple of weeks ago. So you still need to be checking in with people, reaching out. But are you creating, urgency type of mass mails and calling people and no, you're not looking at prospecting the same way right now.
Yeah. I had a client who was in Salt Lake City. And so, the whole COVID start thing happened, a couple of weeks ago. Then they had an earthquake. People. They had an earthquake while everybody's supposed to be locked down. I mean, that doesn't happen very often.
I know.
And she goes, what am I supposed to do? I'm freaking out. And I said, you don't do anything until Monday. Don't do anything. Unprecedented times calls for something else. It would, even some people would consider it true full-on prospecting. Right. Hey, well, we'd love to get you moving on the next step.
Are you still in the market? Let's go. Time for an appointment.
All right, what are we going to send? Have you had a COVID-19 test? Can you come in and see us? It's not that we don't stop reaching out.
Right.
Let's keep reaching out. But just saying, hey, we're here to help. When you're ready, we're ready. That's kind of our message.
We're here for you.
We're here for you. When you're ready,
exactly.
Let us know. We've got people who can help. So pay attention to some of that stuff. You don't need to go hardcore prospecting. Mike's not going to come find you if you're not making 20 calls a day. Right? It's temporary. It's
temporary. Yeah.
Okay. Be ready to support some of your sales team as they make the virtual shift. Listen, the online sales world, we're on top of the tech mountain, right? We're the Sherpas, we're the guides. We've been doing this for a long time. Some of our salespeople, man, this is going to rock their world. Right. Because they don't love technology the same way that you do, or they're not used to it the same way that you do. Or when you ask them to put their face on a camera, they say, you're kidding. It ain't happening. We don't have to do any more training about why face-to-face camera video is so important. You don't have a choice. Right. Now your job is to help. And what we'd encourage you to do is this isn't you going and having to be IT or tech support, right?
Yes.
This is about you just doing some explainer videos, using BombBomb screen share, using Loom as a tool to teach them. Don't get caught up in being tech support, but definitely be supportive. Ooh, that's a good quote. Mike just had a quote.
So amazing. Listen, I feel like you guys, maybe I'm projecting, but the weight of the world, you might feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders right now. Like, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me. I've got to help everybody set this up. I've got to get out there. I've got to train them. I've got to do all this. No.
Yeah.
What I would say is, be that support and be that resource, but you have got to work with leadership, sales leadership. If you're listening, you've got to be really getting this set up for your sales team, not online sales, right? But online sales can be there to help. So I don't want online salespeople. I don't want you to feel like have that additional stress that, you've got to go make this happen for your whole organization.
Right. And listen, when people get stressed out in your organization, they turn to the ones who've been doing this the longest. Like, we have perspective because we've been doing this the longest.
Right.
But remember, you got to reality check the expectations. Say, if you want me to do this, plus handle the influx of calls and things that are happening and customers and trying to keep my job going and our job going and appointments going, you got to set some realistic expectations around that. Right. So if you want, you guys, anybody on this, you can go ahead and just do a little comment and tag your manager and say, hey, manager, will you please watch this Facebook Live?
Yes.
And again, this is a teaching Facebook Live. Sometimes we have fun, but this one is we're giving you the good stuff because we want you to be prepared.
Absolutely. One thing you might need to do is temporarily adjust call reel, just depending on, if you're using a call tracking system, depending on how you have that set up. If you have, your menu, your greeting, you may need to put something about, our models are closed, please press 1 to speak with the new home specialist. That can help get you set up, to what we need to do. So just think about that. You may have calls that need to flow directly to your on-site team, that maybe they're calling the office and nobody's there to answer. So you need to make sure they're flowing through to your on-site sales number. So just think about that. If depending on how you have call tracking set up, you may need to adjust some of that.
Here's the final piece of advice we want to give you, and we might do this on our next Facebook Live. Actually, we'll take recommendations from you guys too, whatever you want, because we want to save a little bit at the end for questions and answers. I see a couple coming through, and if you have questions, make sure to lob them out there. You remember, you may have already worked from home, but it may have been a different type of situation. Get your tech set up in place at home, right?
Yes.
For those of you who aren't used to this, even though you could work remotely and virtually, you weren't used to having an office set up like this. So make sure you got everything in place. One of the big things that we recommend, especially if it's starting to get a little noisy with your other office coworkers, aka children or dogs, is Crisp. Crisp is a tool that allows you to do some noise canceling on the back end and not block out everything 100%, but it does a pretty darn good job. And that's Crisp with a K. If someone on this would like to go grab that website URL and post it in the comments so people could see it, that would be awesome. That's called Crisp, KRISP.
Yep. I use it, guys. I have 6 dogs, and it does help with, if they're barking. So it works really well.
The Barkins have some Barkins. All right. So one question that came up from multiple people, how do you experience quality of construction virtually? What are some ideas of ways to build value and excitement around virtual tours? Someone else said kind of the same thing, build on your lot. What about virtual studio tours for customers? Those are all fantastic things, right? So there's 2 questions we'll answer. Number 1, the stuff that they used to do in person that they can't do right now because it's recommended that they don't, or people just aren't comfortable. It's as simple as going in with a camera, your iPhone, some that shoots high def, and doing an interview and walking someone around and showing them that way. That's the easiest, quickest thing. There's other things that you can do, from 360 panoramas to 360 videos to some of that other stuff. But again, we don't have to always overcomplicate it. Yeah. We can just get out there. One thing I would say when you're shooting videos, always take into consideration the sound. So there's a couple of tools and devices out there that you can get to where it sounds better, even if you're shooting from your iPhone. So make sure that the sound is good. It's not sound really far away or echoey. Make sure even if it's ad hoc or it's quick, that the quality is done well. And for most of you on this, we're hoping that you've been building some of this content already, but if you're not, you may have to get into that. And that's where marketing comes in. You got to rely on your marketing team to help shoot a lot of that stuff. I hope that helps for the question. Now, the second part of that question, Jen, how do you get people excited for virtual tours? And is that even possible?
Well, if that's the only option right now, so, just simply saying, 1, they need to be on your website, but 2, just saying, hey, I know we can't meet in person right now, but I've got a virtual tour that can walk you through. I'll be sure to send that to you. And then make sure, guys, you are, and your salespeople too, if you're sending out that information, you are immediately following back up after. I just sent you that virtual tour. Can we hop on and talk about it? What did you see you liked? Did you have any questions about it? So don't forget your chips and salsa and your cookies and milk. This is go time for more communication than normal.
Right.
So you may be experiencing a little bit of a shift in your leads. Sure. That will allow you some bandwidth to over communicate with your prospects.
Yeah. I think
think about that.
I think that's great. And I think, again, we're not trying to manufacture urgency or manufacture excitement. We are trying to address the people who are still either have been in the process, right? They started 6 months ago and this isn't changing anything.
That's right.
Or they're going to move forward because they know we will all move forward from this. And that kind of goes into the next one that Andy's asking. How aggressive would you work incoming C leads? Listen, if it's incoming, it's A. So that rating is gone. People, anything coming into your system is a hot lead. So we treat them the same. We as you would someone coming in before that would have been, hey, listen, in a busy market, which is so ironic that, 3 weeks ago we posted a blog post on hot market habits.
On how to handle a hot market. I know. I was thinking about that.
Now the market's just on fire. Now it's done a huge pendulum shift the other way. And so, Andy, my recommendation is you treat them like an A lead. Treat them like an A lead. All right. Not with desperation, but with attention. That's really it. We don't say we're desperate. We just say we're here to help. Yeah. And we're going to give them more attention than they did before. All right. Remember, don't ever assume what the customer's motivation or motivation level is. Right. They're reaching out. They have expressed interest, and our job is to do nothing changes. Yeah. We follow up with them and give them the attention that
we're
they
responsive.
Deserves.
We're responsive. We're here for you. We are serving, not selling.
Ooh, I like it.
And in that with that perspective, that's how our conversations need to go. Right.
Yeah. Hey, Andy, you bet. We're here to help. Hey, if you guys are having lunch right now, I want to know what you're eating. Chat out what you're eating. So Jennifer, this goes back to that question, thoughts on working dormant leads right now or push out. Again, it goes back to, we don't have to prospect, especially unresponsive leads. We still do want to reach out. I would refocus that energy towards responsive people who have reached out to you in the past. You can still do email marketing, kind of give them updates on, hey, we've got virtual tours. We see this all the time. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but watch out for that. Andy's eating cinnamon Cheerios. Ooh, I like that. Very nice.
I don't want to get into marketing really, because that's not my lane, but just, be aware of like the doomsday outreach. It's more about, we're here for you when you're ready. We have private appointments available or virtual if you'd rather, but keep it light, keep it positive as much as possible.
Yeah. And this kind of goes, Kate, this is a great question. So she says, I've struggled on the phone with people saying they're not interested and no longer working. Do you think emails are best at this time? Kate, we're throwing it up here. We got you. Listen, what we're dealing with there is like, oh, it's uncomfortable. I don't want to deal with this. I just send them an email. Again, it is no different than pre-COVID, where it's easy to hide behind email. Phone calls are harder because people say, why are you doing? Are you kidding me? I'm not doing anything right now. All you have to do to address that is say, no problem at all. I completely understand. We're just wishing you well and just wanted to make sure that, we are here. And if whatever you need, whenever you need it, we are here to help. I'll be sure to update my notes, and we'll keep you on our email newsletter. And if anything changes in the future, just let us know. That's all you have to do to handle it. Yes, it's hard, but I had to do it the other day on a call with a builder. It was a second phone call going over a proposal. And I just told him, I feel very uncomfortable trying to close this deal during COVID-19, but I wouldn't be a good salesperson if I didn't ask you. If it were up to you right now, would you want to move forward? You two on this phone call, because they had to run it past leadership. I said, I'm still going to ask it. Right. And they just smiled and they understood and they said, yes, we would like to move forward. We got to run it past our leadership team, but we still want to move forward. Right. So again, don't ever assume and don't avoid things because it's not uncomfortable. Just don't be pushy. Of course, we've never said be pushy.
I was going to say, again, it doesn't really change for you guys in that aspect. The other thing I would tell you is you're probably going to go to voicemail the majority of the time. I mean, have you guys noticed the spam risks popping up on your phone like every day? Is anybody else getting those? Yeah. Okay. But you leaving a voicemail with your friendly voice saying, hey, I'm here from Happy Acres. I'm just calling to check on you. How are you doing? I mean, that people are going to really appreciate that level of customer service from you guys right now, from your company.
Right.
So. Leave those voicemails.
I love it. Yes. Anne-Marie Miller, same thing. Is there a lot of email noise right now? Every business sending COVID-19 updates. Yeah. Thank you, optometrist that I haven't been to in 12 years for sending me your like, I'm never going back. So,
right.
It is hard, right? So cutting through that, using the phone, using video email, using the platforms that we've always done, and making the subject different.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't use COVID-19 in your subject.
Just change that up. Kylie, I see you here. So will you and Kevin have a marketing Facebook Live advice coming soon as well? Hey, we're going to do everything we can, but let me tell you the best place to get advice for that. The Market Proof Marketing podcast has turned into like, what's it called? Market Proof Marketing.
Right.
Right. Think about that. So we're in a new market. How do you market proof your marketing in a pandemic? And so definitely tune into the Market Proof Marketing podcast. Again, we've got at Do You Convert, we support online sales and we support online marketing. That's our only thing that we do for builders. And so that Market Proof Marketing podcast is where you're going to get the latest and greatest for sure. But I'm sure we'll do some stuff with his face because I know you guys need to see his face. We need proof of life, Kevin. Proof of life. Are you here and still around? He'll be here. Don't worry.
Yes.
Let's see. Anybody else have questions? I'm looking through this. There's a whole lot of stuff coming through, which is great.
Yes.
Barb's having coffee for lunch. That's great. Advice on handling a sales team that aren't working. Put them to work. I mean, listen, if they're not working right now, again, that means you're the one who's selling. So if the question is advice on what happens if they're working from home or they're sheltering in place, you need to get them working. So just like you and you're working, they need to be working. So that would be my advice for that. Again, everybody's company situation is different. But yeah, that's definitely
at a minimum, remember a phone call, if they're not set up to work from home virtually, if you have a sales team that's not quite there yet, they have a phone, and remember there are still, here's the reality. There are still buyers out there right now. We have to remember that we can't just shut down and not do anything.
That's right.
There are still buyers and there's people that need to move and there's people that need homes. So there is still work to do. Absolutely.
The work is different and the work is shifted, right? But there's definitely still work to do. Yes. Okay, here's what I want to do. The last exercise for this one as we're signing off. We got some. I see you guys all on here. We got some inspirational people on here. I love
seeing all you guys on here.
Serious superstars. So what I want you guys to do is go ahead and leave an inspirational quote that you've seen lately out there in the world. Go ahead and copy it and paste it right into the comments for everybody. Mike Davis right there. Service not selling. I love it. This is great. So go ahead and leave that. Jen, I'm going to ask you to, what do you got? What's a good inspirational
I love this one.
Quote?
I love this one from Zig Ziglar. Fear is spelled one of two ways: either forget everything and run, or face everything and rise.
Ooh, so goosebumps.
Let's face everything and rise.
Yeah.
And we're figuring it out together, guys, one day at a time, right? But when you wake up in the morning, it's like a new challenge. It's a new day for you to kick some butt and make a difference, help people, be a resource for your sales team and company, and hang in there. Hang in there one day at a time.
I always, when going through hard things, well, first of all, it's a couple of quotes. When you're going through hell, just keep going. I forget who that was. Someone can fact check me on that one. I think it was some general in World War II.
Keep going.
Mm-hmm. But I do think of the hang in there poster with the kitty cat. We need some hang in there COVID-19 posters. Here, I want to read this to you because Gary Keller posted this. And I don't know if you guys know who Gary Keller is, founder Keller Williams, pretty inspirational guy, wrote a lot of great books. I really look up to him because he really is there for his agents and stuff like that. But he posted something the other day, and I'm just going to read it in its entirety because I think it's important. You might need a different mindset, a different game plan, a different level of execution, a different gear, and a different speed. Oof.
I like that.
Opportunity lies on the other side of fear and awaits any and all who focus on what they want and make every day about how to get it. Stay safe, stay strong, head down and heart up. Right? So, yeah, I mean, you got to dig a little bit deep. And that's kind of my personal thing, is a different gear, a different speed.
Yeah.
It was nice worrying about too much business 3 months ago. Well, now it's different. And so we got it last week. Now it's a different gear and a different speed. And take heart. We are all going through this together. Take heart. Yeah. This is new for all of us.
Everybody.
But we are making the commitment to be here for you guys. Obviously, we got a great response and we love it. So we'll keep doing this on a weekly basis. Yes. Why? What else are you going to do? You're shut in your house and say, kids, go away. I'm on a Zoom call. Just tell them that. Share this with your leadership. Share this with your sales team. Anybody else who wants to see it. We appreciate all of you. Stay tuned for more. Watch our Facebook page. You may need to sign up for our email newsletter. We'll be sure to update that as well. And we will see you next week. Thank you, Jen. And thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.